Hello there. They call me Mystery. Now, if you're like me, you're probably used to hearing Americans go on about their constitution as if having one gives them the license to be obnoxious and shove their freedom-loving culture in everyone's faces. But here's the scary part. What if it does? From a revolutionary perspective, a constitution is the most important product of a revolution. Outside of liberating people from oppressive rule, a constitution is the foundation of revolutionary society. So why aren't they talked about more? And where do they come from?
My name is Mystery. For reasons unknown, I have been thrown back into the past almost 100 years. And this is my story.
A constitution is a set of rules which control the structures and the powers of government in accordance with basic rights. If free people make up a society and give their consent to be governed as part of a social contract, then a constitution is supposed to be the code of conduct that a people draft up before a government is established, to keep it working with integrity. Governments, by nature, have authority and power, and with that, the potential to be tyrannical and oppressive, taking their own people as slaves and subjects. And so constitutions are formed as a safeguard to prevent that from happening. The lesson from this process is that government derives its legitimacy from the people when they draft up a constitution and grant government its power. This has been the logical progression of revolutionary societies as they establish themselves after the overthrow of a previous social order. The idea of constitutionalism has its roots going back to the Magna Carta. This was a document agreed by the King of England and his nobles in the 13th century that limited his absolute power and introduced some basic human rights and common law. Although there is this very conservative stereotype of the English, from a revolutionary sense, they are trailblazers. A constitution is not formed as simply as I described before, though. There are different types of constitutions. When the French Revolution kicked off in 1789, their original intention was to not set up a new democratic society, but simply reform the powers of their king, institute a constitutional monarchy, laying out the conditions of the king and parliament. From then on, after a series of dramatic events, the French people demanded their own constitution and in a state of ongoing revolution, attempted a number of times to draft constitutions to really establish their revolutionary society. After the American War of Independence, each colony and the nation made their own constitutions to control state and national governments. These constitutions had massive input by people of the colonies based on declarations of rights. Each county, village, town sent representatives to state congresses to help formulate and agree upon constitutions. It was this incredibly grassroots, politically active lifestyle of townspeople in the colonies that influenced the forming of American society. And it really explains why Americans hold this sanctimonious reverence for their constitutions, even though they don't act politically like their ancestors did. The American revolutionaries believed that a constitution was a live document designed by the people to match the will of the people and could be amended or reconstituted at their desire. Americans now seem to buy into the mythology of this document and would detest it being changed or, God forbid, rewritten, because it's part of the American legend more than it is a political instrument that should be actively scrutinized and updated to match the issues of the day. Now let's go to the other extreme of this constitutionalism, and this will be very interesting for the Australians in the audience. Your constitution, you ready, is rubbish. Like it's not worth the paper it's written on. The Australian Constitutional Act, firstly, is an act, a piece of legislation which overtook another. It was passed by a government and therefore doesn't qualify as a constitution. A constitution should be drafted by the people to control government's impact on civil liberties. The Australian Constitution reads only as a division of powers that says the states are in charge of this, the federal government can do that, here are some rules about how Parliament is to be structured and how you hold elections. It doesn't include a code of conduct to protect free people's rights. It's merely an operations manual. The most disturbing part of the Australian Constitution is this. It is riddled with clauses that basically allow the Queen, yes, the Queen of England, to overrule and interject in the actions of the Australian government whenever she sees fit. That's right, Australians, where other nations have a document that protects their inalienable rights from tyrannical governments. Yours is literally designed to allow a tyrant to come in legally and at the drop of a hat overthrow your elected government. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Oh, Mr. E, that's silly, that would never happen. Well, may I remind you of a little incident involving Prime Minister Gough Whitlam, who was dismissed by the Governor-General, signed off by the Queen. This isn't just hypothetical stuff here. The elected leader of a nation was removed by an external monarch. Australia, as it was constituted, is just an imperial outpost of the British Empire and has no actual rights of citizens held above its political structures. I see now why real constitutions are the things of legend. Maybe it's time we revisited the revolutionary act of constituting government, since today they're really just hijacked by business interests. Might be a good place to start making some real change. Now, if you thought this was interesting, please give it a like and share it. And please, subscribe for more. There is much to learn about the revolution. Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.